wedding bells. Don't do all the talking, let love speak up itself. Let love speak up itself. So when
Right, good morning guys. I'm doing a eXtremeProKoi visit, a pond visit to Roy Voller. Down here, have a look at his pond. I'll show you his main pond and how he's getting on. We've also got the Vitalis guys down here who are doing a talk at the South East Koi Club. That's this afternoon. So I've come down. They're actually down there talking to Roy at the moment about his system and that. So what I'll do is I'll just show you really some of the stuff that he's got up in his main pond, and then we can go from there. I'm sure. Okay, so here we are. This is Roy's main pond. Now, as you can see, it's slightly up out of the ground, but it's 3,000 gallons. Now, some might think they want a big ponds, but when you look in Roy's pond, you can see there, look, size of these koi, like 90 cm, 80 cm, beautiful. And that's with 3,000 gallons. I think it's probably 4.5, 5 foot deep, possibly. It's got the massive shower going across the whole of his pond. That's back his shower, all nicely tucked away behind the old timber. Nice bamboo. So as a pond, personally, I mean, I think it's lovely. Really is nice. So that's koi. I keep saying koi. That's for his main pond, and lovely fish, and some of the fish that obviously he shows at the All England Koi show. What we'll do now, we go down and have a look at Roy's growing on section. It's nice the way he's done it in his garden, because he's built it down the end, hidden a little bit. Again, nice bamboos. And it is great to have a setup of a growing on system where you can go down and spend a bit of time inside it. Double glazed, polycarbonate roof. Air source heat pump, always we feel a better way of heating our ponds. So at the moment he's got the guys from Vitalis in there just talking about how he's getting on, because he's using Vitalis food now as his main feed. Been doing that for a while, so let's go in and see how Roy's growing on system. The guys from Vitalis having a chat. Roy uses the high fill, which goes down, I understand, at 5 microns. There's a media, biomedia, so that's all working.
You never ever feed there, right? They all come there, but watch. You watch the difference.
It's a trade, yes.
The whole thing with this is what I do every day, right? It gets thrown against the back there.
That makes the noise as well.
They listen to the noise, then they know where they've got to go. That's where they that's
that's conditioning and training the animals. We have a lot of that with public aquariums, where they have to get them to feed in different places, because if they don't get certain areas where they feed, the aggressive fish always take all the food. So they have to kind of try and separate them out, and that's a training thing. So
they're all
good to see these two pretty much ignored.
Okay, let's go and see what they're talking about, these guys. Alright gentlemen, so Roy, how's it going? What are we talking about?
We're only talking about food as usual. Just having we've got the food, the main food boys here, you've got to talk about food, haven't you?
Vitalis.
Can't beat a bit of a taste.
So go on in.
That's all going well, Joe. Just saying, after 4 or 5 months now using it, how impressed I am, you know. Overall, water quality wise, fish wise, I'm exceptionally happy.
They're all looking good, aren't they?
Yeah, we're happy.
And how long's it been? Did you say 4 months?
A couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks before the show really, I started using it, so both ponds have been fed on it now exclusively, so I was on sinking food prior to that anyway, so it's not as though the sinking food problem was any different. I've got to a system now, like Jeff's just thrown food in literally underneath here where the fish are not fed. I've turned the showers and everything off, obviously you wouldn't hear a thing otherwise.
No.
Them fish are all fed with the food right at the back there. I throw it against that shower so they, as you can see, they've eaten it in seconds. Down there where they'll be scared now with everything off, they're not going to come to this area. But no, I'm saying fish-wise and food-wise, it's going really
well. No, yeah, I mean, I'm using Vitalis myself, and I'm noticing 100% a better white, better Benny. The whole thing's a lot brighter in the fish.
Well, yeah, I must admit, the good thing, obviously, you can always have a bit of placebo effect. You've got to think, we're on a freezing cold morning, the pond temperature's now down 14 degrees, 13, 14 degrees. So you can always have the placebo effect. We're at that time of the year, but I haven't been down that long, and the sumi quality on these, what is exceptional, has been exceptional at 22 degrees, 23 degrees. It wasn't that they were wishy-washy at that temperature just because we come down, but obviously you're not going to appreciate that because you weren't here filming them at 22, 23 degrees. It's hard to, I'm trying to think of a proper way of putting it with the old...
We mentioned about the food, didn't we? Saying about it'll make the fish will be better with the food, but the fish has to have the genetics there in the first place, doesn't it?
Of course.
And then the food just brings that out in a better way than you might find on some other food.
Yeah, true. There's definitely been an improvement, no two ways about it, colour-wise.
Yeah.
Definitely. But it's very hard to show that unless we...
Too often with after photos.
Yeah,
definitely.
And also we've only been doing it, say, for 4 months-ish. I think once I've had a whole year, so it's been for a whole... I think you need a whole year to really analyse it perfectly. But like I was saying to Tom, how long would they say before you actually notice any improvement, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so you're not getting the placebo effect. You know, if you're starting off feeding it, how many weeks would you expect before you actually see some change?
How long are we looking at, Tom?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, you've got to look at it from the percentages you're using. So if you're mixing it in with other stuff, which initially I understand a lot of people will do because they're a bit cautious about changing foods, then there's not really a time scale I can give you on that.
Well,
you're not getting 100% effect. Once you're onto it 100%, realistically, you're going to see the effects of the food within about 3 weeks, 4 weeks maximum. That's where you're really going to see the effect on the animal. If you see food that you get an instant reaction within a couple of days, then there's something not quite right about that. It's not a natural process, if you like. Obviously, the water quality side of things is a different angle. You'll probably see that sooner than the 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, I won't put my camera in this one, but there's nothing wrong with the water quality.
No.
That's fine.
The water quality, if I'm true, the water quality is... I did, when I first initially started off, I started using this food, Joe, the way I was feeding me food previously. As everybody knows, I've been a carny, worked for donkeys years.
Yeah.
I trashed the water because I overcooked it. You do not need anywhere near the amount of food with this food, for a fact.
But you're right.
You know, I've had to cut back. I love chucking food in the pond. The best thing about it is feeding the fish. You can definitely overcook it with this food. You don't need anywhere near the amount of food. I would say, talking with Kev, yourself, you pretty much come down to feed probably half the amount, and I would say that's probably right. Hence why I'm not putting it in the feeder. Yeah. Because I haven't really worked out in my own edge.
It does work in the feeder.
I know,
because I've used it.
You've done it, but I haven't got in my own edge yet. the amount of seconds that I would need. Where I used to be 3-4 minutes in this, and I didn't see, if I done 3-4 minutes with Vitalis in here, I would overcook the water and send the water cloudy. Now I've got it in my head what's right. I just put an handful in the morning, at this temperature, handful in the morning, handful in the evening. It's working an absolute treat. We're at cooler temperatures. I know the food, it says it can be fed down to 5 degrees. Obviously, you have to talk to the Vitalis boys as far as why that is the case. Where other foods, obviously, are protein foods, you know, they say 18 degrees a week, you can go down to 30, and pretty much in the koi world of old, get down into colder temperature, 8 degrees, and pretty much don't feed full stop. And you've got other people, I'm not one, I've always have stocked up to this year, for at least a month, 6 weeks, no food whatsoever. But this year I'm going to carry on, just putting a little handful in each day.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. But when you say about the food amount, I mean, on that Living the Dream that I'm doing with a small tosai, there's 29 tosai in there, and whereas normally I've had 7 like bigger fish in me growing on, and I've been doing like 25-30 seconds of food, I'm like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And feeding probably more fish for that, and the fish are doing fine. There's no problems at all. So you might look at a food as being you're using an amount, but it probably is like 50%, I would say. So it can work out economically, can't it?
Without a doubt. That's all I'm pretty much doing. One of them in the morning, one of them at the night. But I do need to really put a little bit of science around it, like Kevin has, as far as getting a measurement or a beaker, and obviously as the fish are getting bigger, obviously we need to feed more.
That's always the challenge. I mean, we see this across all the sectors that we deal with, is you're almost going back to square one when you learn how to feed the fish again. And you know, each pond, each tank, each exhibit in an aquarium is a different thing, because you've got different fish, you've got different size fish, etc. So it's just always a case of going almost back to square one, working out your volumes. My advice always is to you know, pare it back more than you perhaps would think initially, so you don't overcook it and then pollute the water, and eventually you build it up and you get to your right level. But it's quite hard for us as a company to recommend exactly, because it all depends on what you're feeding initially. And I can't comment on that. I don't know what it would be compared to all the different other products out there on the marketplace, but we also know within you know, the indoor side, the public aquarium side and the koi side, you will find that you reduce the amount of food. What's interesting for us coming to see Roy's fish here is that, you know, we're now seeing fish in this country fed on the food for 4 months. We've got other people doing the same thing. But the best thing for us is to get their experiences and your experiences, saying, okay, well, it is 50% or it is 40%. Okay, if it's one of those two, it shows you the difference, but it also then shows you the difference with the maths.
It's positive, isn't it? It is positive.
No, it's good. I honestly do believe not giving it a go, you're missing a trick. It's different for me being a carp fisherman and having a chat with Jeb and Tom there, what's in the makeup of the food. To some people, if you're not a carp angler, you're going to find it a bit boring, or you know, all the products, but it's very hard. Packaging on human food is hard enough to understand. Even at breakfast, what with the chat that we've had, packaging is smoke and mirrors, and Tom hopefully maybe explain it 50 times better than I can, but you know, I honestly believe I will feed the best quality food that I can give them. And the ingredients that are in this, most people are waving the fairies, oh, it's not Japanese. You know, we know exactly what is in this. The rest of it you're only reading on a bag. And I don't know how to explain it as far as fish percentages, how much fish meal, how much carbohydrate, how much protein, how much fat, how much. It's not my game, but there's a lot of smoke and mirrors after that.
Some know and some don't, don't they?
I mean, it's the talk. Tom will be the man to explain it, but
Well, at the South East you can explain that.
Yeah, I am, a little bit. I think just fundamentally, what has to go on the side of a packet, it doesn't matter who makes it, is a legal requirement, and so protein is always one of the big ones, whether it's koi or any other fish. People kind of key in on that for various reasons. But the legal requirement says you put protein down and then you put a percentage. That is all you're allowed to write. That is all you can write. You can't expand on any of that.
Right.
But protein itself, the percentage, yes, to a degree is relevant, but it doesn't tell you what type of protein it is. It doesn't tell you whether it's digestible, for example. So, as a fish nutrition company, we can't tell you what's in somebody else's food by reading the side of the packet. So how hobbyists can do it is just really difficult. You can't do it. Equally, you know, if you're whoever makes the food, they're not going to make a food that's going to kill your fish or do your fish like major harm. So yes, it's all going to be there or thereabouts, but the label itself in that regard is not a marketing exercise for anyone, whether it's, you know, another brand, us, whoever. It doesn't make any difference. It's a legal requirement.
Right, okay.
It has to be right. So if they put, say, 40% protein, it has to be legally 40% protein, but it
that
doesn't
could
say
be
whether it's
40%
digestible protein or not.
feather meal or crap like that.
It could be, yeah, it could be. That's the point. But it's unlikely to be. But that's an extreme example.
I think a lot of like members and some are not really interested in all that. I think they look at results that others get. And I think, like, obviously coming down and seeing, like Roy's pond this morning, you can see the results. And when you're talking to people who know what they're talking about, that is a better way of doing it.
Again, Joe, this is only a 4-month result.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to say after a year, like doing it now and then looking at these same fish
A year's time.
in a year's time, it'd be interesting to see, you know, body shapes holding up,
Yeah.
you know, how well they grow. Because as I was saying to Tom, you know, that Sankey there, is 75 cm, you know, it's a lot bigger fish than it actually looks in there, you know.
Yeah. We can put some food in your main pond, can't we, though?
Oh, we'll put some food.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do an underwater shot. So how do your showers work then, Roy? Put your showers on, boys.
We've got a bit of eating, eh?
That's all right. Then we go up the main pond and have a look at the main pond.
Okay, well, let me get the old shower bucket.
This is Roy's showers now.
Cheer the fish up as well. They'll actually come down and
Start eating.
yeah. Well, they're eating. I can show you how good they eat in a sec.
This is what you need to buy. A nice little growing on system. This is Roy's new addition. I think the guys are trying to feed it Vitalis.
Fed on to get that skin. You can only feed. You've got to feed him. He's got to. Look, he loves a bit of
mate,
loves a bit of Vitalis. Look, that's why he's got skin like that. Look at the quality of that coat for 11 weeks old.
Get cold out here.
Right, let's go back to these fish now. So Roy's going to put some food in so we can see how it goes. I'm going to put my hand in the water, get nice and cold.
You gonna go for it? Go on.
Yeah, go on then.
Enjoy yourself.
my word. He says 12 degrees, but that was cold. My hand, as you can see, if I move that around there, look. It's smoking. As I say, that was a visit to who I call Koi Roy. Well impressive, lovely fish. He's impressed with the changes he's made. I'm impressed with how my fish are doing indoors now. I'm feeding them on the Vitalis. It's not a Vitalis video. This is just obviously they're down here letting you know about the food and ones who are using it. But what a lovely setup he's got. 3,000 gallons here, 2,500 gallons in his growing on system. Showers turning over the water. Water clarity is like absolutely unbelievable. So all in all, an impressive system, impressive setup from an impressive hobbyist. So I hope you enjoyed it, lads. And we'll sort out a visit to some of the other guys. I want to try and get James Furmore and also get Andy Baker. I'll do a koi visit with them as well, so we can really see our other koi hobbyists doing their hobby. So I hope you enjoyed it. Freezing cold. I'm going to get a cup of tea now. So speak to you guys later. I'll do a little bit of video at the South East Koi Club, just to really sort of say why it's good to join a koi club. So you can meet people and it's enjoyable, and you can get good lectures and talks on different subjects to do with the koi world. So speak to you guys later. Freezing cold, I'm going inside now, so it's over and out from me. So after seeing Koi Roy's highly top rate growing on system, you're now coming down to Mr. Angels, and here we are now with the Vitalis lads and Roy to give me a right good hiding on my fish keeping quality. What are you reckoning, guys? Here they are,
Joe,
living the dream.
Do you know, they look nice. Living the dream, Joe. I'll tell you what, Joe. Obviously, you can't turn around and go, they're growing 4 million centimetres or anything stupid like that. Best thing you've done so far, you've kept them all alive. I think you've only lost one down the pipe, haven't you?
Yeah, I know, and it was the best one, I thought.
Being this size fish, you know what I mean? I think you've done really well just keeping them alive. No two ways about it. They're grown because they were miniature when you got them. So you're doing well.
The body shapes were right though, weren't they?
Body shapes, I must admit, Joe, overall,
Yeah, they are. I know.
they're pretty good.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
If anything, I'd say you need to feed a bit more. Like your water quality, I know round the old food, that's one of the things even Tom's mentioned, is the water quality does. You can't tell water quality, let's rephrase that. Not water quality, water clarity.
Right.
The water clarity is fantastic. Now, we all know if you overcook it, it goes a bit cloudy. It doesn't mean that the quality of the water is any different. The other thing, Joe, as well, is it no matter what food we feed, you ain't going to make this quality fish starting off with into 20 gram fish feeding any food, are you?
No, right, okay.
But you will get the absolute best, I reckon. Like the sumi quality on them, I don't know if it's the food or not, but I mean the sumi quality is coming out massively improved.
They're bright, aren't they?
They are. I must admit, they're far better than when we picked them up. When we chose them, it was hard going to get out of that amount of fish to get what we got, and you know, they're not bad looking little babies.
And that's 12 seconds a day.
Yeah, I would say you need a bit more, I'm Trevor.
Because on the when I did, like, I had 6 toe side that was big, obviously probably 2 or 3 times bigger than these. I was doing like 30 seconds a day, so I'm feeding a lot less, but still getting results.
Yeah, I would up the because you're so warm. 20 was it 24 in it?
24 on there. It's 23 in the water.
Yeah, see, I think I'd up the food ratio. Me, I don't know what you reckon.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the challenge is always trying to get the balance right, but the initial thing with any fish is to work out the feed that they need is to feed to satiation, which means they're actually full. So they start to leave it, and then once you know what volume that is, that's that's really the volume you
Where
need.
you want to be.
If you're converting from one food to another, though, sometimes it takes about 2 weeks for the metabolism to just level back out again and get used to the new feed. So
Right, yeah.
it's a detailed thing that you probably want to be doing for about 2 weeks and just keeping an eye on it. If you do feed to satiation, you don't want to be leaving food that they leave just sitting in the water, of course, because that's just going to make the water go cloudy. So each person has to look at their own fish in a little bit of detail to start with. Once they've worked that out, a bit like what Roy was saying earlier, you measure out a cup,
Yeah.
put a line on it, and then that's where you are. Now, obviously, as they grow, they're going to need a bit more, so you've got to up it a little bit, but that's the same with any food. So.
Yeah, well, the food's working in the feeder, so that's a really small pellet. And I know the bigger pellet works as well in the feeder. That's Profi feeder, so that's not a problem. But no, yeah, as you say, I'll turn the food up a bit more on them and see. But there's no waste. I can't see any waste in the bottom of there.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, Joe. The water, you're certainly not over. The clarity of the water is unbelievable. I don't know if it's showing on your camera there or whatever, but you know, I've never seen you. I've been in your, looked at this pond many a time. I've never ever seen it this clear.
Yeah, well, I've got my drum on there as well, though, haven't I? Now from
Oh, cool.
from Gatwick Gary.
Yeah, cheer old, yeah.
Cheer old Gary up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I must admit. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen this rocking with a drum. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So you
It's
are,
always the combination of filtration
yeah.
and what you put in there, which is going
well,
to give you.
that's a whole nother story, Tom. If you think about it realistically, that's what I was saying to you in my pond with the massive turnover that I do.
Yeah.
And we're talking winter turnovers now. We're not talking about summer turnovers. I raw it right up. There's certain people out there probably not. They say about contact time with the show. I've always done it. Every fast turnovers. I'm totally utterly pro that. You don't get no settlement in the bottom because you pull it. Them drains are pulling so hard. Like with Joe in here, I don't know what the what's it, 800 gallons, Joe? You say?
800, yeah.
Yeah. What's your turnover here? You must be
3
3
No, I
times.
worked it out. No, it was yeah, it was probably that.
3 times there.
And I got the water going in as well.
That's what I mean. So you're going to get no. What you mean? What you just your dilution you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, apart from your dilution, I mean just the turnover alone, you're changing.
I think it was 20. I worked it out roughly. I think it was 25 gallons a minute.
25 gas. So what's that? 60. 25. Come on, who's good at
Here's
maths?
Roy coming out with maths now.
Yeah, that's too intelligent on a Sunday morning after that.
Yeah,
Every
I
night.
Most of the aquariums that the big aquariums with the big volumes of water, it doesn't matter whether it's a big aquarium or a tiny little one. Really, you need 3 to 4 times an hour the volume of the exhibit going through.
That's a good point, Tom.
The filter.
Oh, okay.
Is that what they do? 4 times? The aquariums. That is pretty much what they run there.
Yeah, but that's what they aim for. Of course, some will underspec the filtration, some will overspec it, but that's really where you need it to be to work with it. This is not really to do with the food, although the whole thing obviously is linked. But that's in order to get the right results. That's what they're trying to achieve. And then, of course, the only pollutant really that you put in the water is the food. So that's why everything's a big picture with fish. It's not like a dog where they live in air like we do, and you give them some food and that's fine. But the food that you put in here, and then also the filtration, it's the environment you're keeping as much as it is the fish, and that's the biggest challenge.
Did you measure any of these, Joe, when you put them in?
They were like
We should have actually.
12s and all that.
They were minute. I mean.
They were.
It would have been not. We should have actually measured them, a few of them, shouldn't we?
But they was only fresh in, and they was like so tiny. It wasn't even. You're going to just stress them out even more. But they've been on Vitalis since they've come here. From that size.
Joe, I can see that. You said I was trying to do. I was doing a little bit of advertising, even though I must admit I'm a massive fan. Talk about fucking promotion. Look at this.
Got to help the members and got to help the dealers.
It's got more stickers than we have.
I'll tell you what. I think you've got more food than they have.
Well, they're going to be eating it when they get bigger. Look at them, look.
Oh, you
And number 8's doing all right as well.
I might be sneaking a few pots of that out if you close your eyes.
He's already took one.
2.
Oh, took 2. I didn't know about the other one. Oh, I think they're doing all right. Anyway, guys, all over. Speak to you later.
All you have to do is touch my hand to show me you understand. Unless something happens to me that's some kind of wonderful. Now anytime my little world seems blue, I just have to look at you, and everything seems to be some kind of wonderful. Now I know I can't express this feeling of tenderness. There's so much I wanna say, but the right words don't come my way. I only know when I'm in your embrace, and this world seems a better place. And something happens to me, and it's some kind of wonderful. And it's wonderful, baby. It's so wonderful. Oh, so divine.